vision for the labour movement. I'm putting my name forward for President for a couple of reasons. Number one, I basically want labour unity. I want to see the labour movement coming together like never before. I want to make sure that the Canadian auto workers come back into the House of Labour. I want to make certain that we stop the fights between the CLC and Labour Councils and the Ontario Federation of Labour. We have to start fighting, as a machine. We have to take a look down the road and see what's coming over the horizon. We all may be faced again with another right-wing agenda. We could very well have Tim Hudak, who's got the same agenda as Mike Harrison. I don't have to tell you what happened to your trades underneath that regime. So therefore, instead of turning the guns inwards, let's turn them out. The enemy is not in the labour movement, whether you be in the construction trades, industrial trades or the public sector. Let's get together as a united fighting force to be able to push back against whoever wants to take on the labour movement.
Demonstrating against the injustice of laying off 100 workers and forcing them to train up their replacement workers. That is a shame, sisters and brothers, and I'm delighted you're taking it home to this highest organisation that made $1.4 billion in profits over the last 6 years, and now they're taking it out on the lowest paid workers in the industry. Well, let's bring the entire labour movement in behind Unite here. Let's stand in solidarity with workers who are being discriminated against. And let's make sure when you go to the bargaining table this year that you win a fair contract on behalf of the hotel industry. Thank you very much, sisters and brothers, for taking on this fight.
At the federal level. So what they're trying to do is come up with an internal trade agreement across Canada that deals with subnational levels of government. And that's why Harper, and don't ask me why the premiers, are saying in order to counteract the Americans' Buy American policy that's in place right now, what they're saying is we will give you access to provincial levels of government's procurement policies, trade policies, and likewise the same thing for municipalities. In other words, we will open up any way that we spend taxpayers' dollars in Ontario to create jobs in Ontario, we'll open that up to competition in the United States. That's essentially what they're doing. And this Labour Mobility Act is part and parcel of that.
If you take an average of 2% inflation over the last 17 years, you will find that they're falling roughly behind by about 20%. Has been taken out of children's mental health budgets in the last 17 years. Paya Catano in James and Hudson Bay Family Services in Northern Ontario has issued layoff notices to their entire staff, every one of them. They do not have sufficient funds to continue operating as of December the 14th. Our government would have us believe that they're doing their best to manage this file. I truly wish I could say that was the case. But even one bankrupt Children's Aid Society or Children's Mental Health Agency is not managing the system, not even close. I asked the Premier to please think about what National Child Day means and what this blue ribbon means before it's too late. Make the simple commitment that these vital services will get the funding they need and not be forced to lay off staff or reduce services to children and families or close the doors in a bankruptcy. Because if our Premier cannot do that, we should all be very worried.
But there is a better way, sisters and brothers, and there is a way forward. We can take a look at what we call the new economies. I was in the Sudbury Council chambers about 18 months ago and I heard a wonderful idea from the council chambers where a group was making a presentation and said, why can't we have, for example, situated in Sudbury, a college of architecture where we will take a look at developing furniture in Northern Ontario, very much like what happens with the Scandinavian furniture, where it is recognised instantly around the world because of its unique design or the woods that they would use. People can look at that furniture straight away and say that's Scandinavian. Why can't we build that kind of industry in Northern Ontario where we'll say that our furniture products will be noticed around the world and instantly recognised, and we can build an industry instead of shipping our woods out of this country and raw products into other nations around the world. We can put Canadians to work right here in our own communities. New clean technologies such as wind power and such as solar, such as biomass. That's quite possible and achievable. 250,000 workers in Germany right now are developing wind turbines. We have the capabilities here, as a matter of fact, in the paper just yesterday. It talks about a Canadian company in Guelph called Lindmar, where they're teaming up with an American company using the facilities of auto parts manufacturers manufacturers in this very province of ours and putting together the technology around wind-wheel technology. One of those towers alone, just one tower, is 4 stories high, 40 to 50 feet, 200 tons of steel just in one pylon alone. And sitting on top of that is a turbine. That turbine has got 8,000 moving parts. We could have a Buy Canadian policy in this country that says that those parts will be manufactured right here in Ontario, where we can put people back to work in the manufacturing sector. That's a real possibility, my friends. We can do it.